And welcome to Punk Patterns. Join me, let's make this beautiful princess dart bustier. It will contour your bust very well and then make your back lie flat, no zipper bulge. You'll love it. Measure your vertical measurements from your shoulder to your nipple and then your shoulder to your waist. Mine is 14.5, and then your shoulder to your hip. Shift your tape measure to another angle and make those same marks there. Then we can join them to get our horizontal lines. So the top line is our bust, the middle is our waist, and the bottom Next is thing our we'll do is line. To create our shoulder line. So we are going to take half of our across shoulder measurement and then input that mine is 7.5. Now you are going to draw a line, a vertical line across those points. To create our shoulder slope, we'll come down 1 inch on that line, and then taking our neck width, which is 3 inches, we'll come in from the center front and mark that. Join those 2 points to give you your shoulder line. Now from that 1 inch slope that we made, we are going to come down by our armhole depth. You get your armhole depth by dividing your bust by 6 and then adding 1.5. Mine is 7.5, so I came down 7.5 and squared out for a guideline. I just labeled that A as in armhole line. On this line, we want to find the midpoint of it. Now we'll let it be for now because this is where our curve is going to be starting from. Now we want to take in our bust measurement. For the back, our bust will be divided by 4, then we'll minus a quarter. Same for the waist, our waist divided by 4, then we'll minus a quarter. But we'll add 1.5 inches. I'll tell you why it's 1.5 and not 1 inch. Now we'll go to the hip. I did my hip divided by 4, but this time I am adding a quarter, not minusing a quarter. Now we are going to just join those points together, and from the waist to our hip, we are joining it with a curve. The midpoint that we made on the armhole depth, we are going to connect it. Now let's work on the waistline. You see the 1.5 inch that I added for that intake? We are going to take half from the center back, just as you see me do. Now you are going to connect it to 0 at the shoulder line. Do the same from the waist down to the hip line. This is supposed to remove your zipper bulge. To contour your back according to your exact measurements, check out my video on how to properly draft your back pattern. Now let's find the midpoint of our waistline now. We are going to use that to draw a straight line that spans towards our shoulders and then our hip line. Make sure the line at the top extends up to 7 inches. Okay, so from our waistline, we will measure up 7 inches. And then we'll come to the waistline itself and mark ½ inch at both sides of the line. This ½ inch at both sides of the line equal 1 inch. Remember, we already took ½ inch at the center back from the 1.5 inch. Okay, now from the waist we measure down 5 inches. Go ahead and join your marks to create your dart. This is just a habit of mine. I shade out my darts and then go to your armhole line and then extend the line towards your center back like this, and then do the same for the mid armhole depth. Okay, then you want to take the dart that you have there, measure the value of that and replace it at the side, just as you see me do that for the second line as well. And then you are going to take your curve and connect them together. This will ensure that after taking that dart at the center back, you won't have any shortage and hence making your back tight. Now connect from your armhole line back to your waistline. To create our hemline, we'll come to the side and measure down 5 inches or 6 inches. I'm measuring 6 inches depending on how long you want your hip line to be. Then I came to the center and measured 6 inches as well. Then I'll just connect that with my curve. This is going to be the hem of my back. This is completely up to you depending on the style line you are going for, the hemline you are going for. I went ahead to cut my pattern out, but before I finish cutting everything, I'll create my neckline. Come down from your center back by 1 inch and connect it back to your shoulder point. Then I'll just trim off the unwanted parts like my neckline, my shoulder, and then the center back dart. We can now go ahead and construct our front. Most of the steps are going to be similar to that of the back. So we'll measure our vertical measurements. So my shoulder to nipple, which is 10 inches, my shoulder to underbust 13, then my shoulder to waist 16, then my shoulder to hip, which is 26. Now move further away from those points to create the same points. This way you'll be able to connect them and get straight lines instead of relying on your own accuracy. Okay, so now we'll join them to create our horizontal lines. Now we'll create our shoulder line like we did for the back. So come to your center front, measure half of your shoulder to shoulder measurements. Like mine is 7.5, then I mark 7.5. Use it to connect a vertical line, and on this vertical line we are going to come down for our shoulder slope by 1 inch, and then come in at our neck by 3 inches for our neck width. Connect those two to give us our shoulder line. Now we are going to come down from the slope 7.5 inches. That's the same amount we took for the back. Now square out from that point. Find the midpoint of this line we just made, and then you are going to come in on that line by half an inch. Remember, the back we left it as is, but for the front we are coming in by half an inch. Now let's take our bust measurement. Our bust divided by 4, then we add a quarter. Remember, we took out a quarter from the back. We are adding it to the front. Okay, now go ahead and position your curve in a way that it can connect these 3 points together. Now let's label our parts for easy identification. I should have done this initially, but it skipped me, so I'm doing it now because why not? Okay. Now I've worked for a lot of women and I've come to the realization that a particular contour figure matches a particular range. Okay, so first of all, you take your bust minus your underbust, whatever figure you get, then you fit it into the chart here. So if you range between 4 to 5 inches, you are using 1.5, 6 to 7 inches, you are using 2, and then 8 to 9 inches, you are using 2.5. Okay, my bust is 35 minus my underbust, which is 29. That gives me 6 inches. So I fall within the 6 to 7 inches range, which is 2 inches. Now this 2 inches, you can go ahead and just subtract 0.5 inches from it and use 1.5. So my contouring will be 1.5. But I find it best to take your back. This is the reason why. Measure from your waist to your underbust on the front pattern, and then do the same thing. Use that figure and measure from your waist upwards on your back pattern. So mine is 3 inches. My waist to underbust is 3 inches. So from my waist on the back, I measured up 3 inches and drew a line. Now on that level, measure the dart value there. You're going to subtract whatever you get from the 2 inches instead of the 0.5. Remember, I said 0.5 is if you just want it quickly to go, but if you want a perfect fit, a perfect contour, okay, you want to subtract that value that you got over there. So mine was 0.6, which is almost 0.5 inches. So I'm leaving the 0.5 inches as is. Okay, so which means my contour value is still 1.5. Now find your nipple to nipple point and then use it to draw your straight line. So my nipple to nipple is 7.5, which gives me 3.75. Okay, so I use that to draw a straight line downwards. Now on your underbust line, you want to measure half inch towards the center front like this, and then the remaining 1 inch towards the side. You're going to do the same on the hip line. Then you just use your ruler to connect them. Now you want to use your curvy part to connect back to your bust, but before that, come down 1 inch from the bust point and then use your curve to connect like so. Make sure you are placing your curve well. Now the next thing we are going to do is to input our waist measurement. So our waist divided by 4, then we will add a quarter. Remember, we took out a quarter from the back, we are adding it to the front. Okay, then afterwards we are going to add that 1.5 inch there. Then we are going to do the same for the hip. So our hip divided by 4 minus a quarter. Okay, minus a quarter, then we'll add that 1.5 inch that we took there back there as well. And we are just going to use our curve to connect from our waistline to our hip line. We are going to create our bust dart. Before we do that, you want to take your shoulder to waist at the front, and then you subtract your shoulder to waist at the back from it, whatever you get. I got 1.5, so I came down from the bust line 1.5 and drew that line back to my nipple point, creating my underarm or bust dart. Before we forget our neckline, let's go ahead and construct it. So for your neckline depth, we came down by 3 inches, and then we are going to connect it back to the shoulder. This 3 inches is going to be changed later on, but just as guide, okay? Now we are going to connect from our nipple point back to the midpoint of our armhole. Then we are going to come down. You see our original contour value is 2 inches. We are going to take that 2 inches and divide it by 2. Mine is 2 inches, so divided by 2 is 1 inch. So I'm just going to come down on that line by 1 inch and connect it back to the nipple point. Now if yours was 2.5 inches, you go ahead and then divide it by 2, okay? And then you input it. I'll just close my dart like this, one leg on top of the other. You see how it shorts at this point. If we just cut it out like that, we will have a shortage, which will make us trim it out and it will be a whole mess. So what we are going to do is mark that part onto the short part, and then you are going to blend it back to your armhole or back to your side seam. When you look at the nipple point, you realize that it's a very sharp corner, so we want to blend that in. Okay, so you want to come up by 1 inch, and then you use your curve to take out that sharp point or that sharp edge. You can even wait to do this after you've cut out your patterns, but I'm just doing it as I go. Okay, now we'll come to the hem and measure down 6 inches. So I made a mistake and measured this 5 inches, so it didn't match my back. I just ended up trimming the back off. Okay, but make sure yours are the same. Okay, your front side seam is the same as your back side seam, but for the center front, I came down from the waistline by 7 inches so that I'll have a little slope, more like a V towards the center front. So I closed my dart, so, and then went ahead to join the line. Now we'll have to close our side darts. We'll pick one leg, just as we did for the armhole. We'll pick one leg and place it on top of the other, and then take our ruler and join from the side seam back to our waistline. I'm going to reshaping my neckline into a V. So before I do that, I'm going to come down from the center front 7 inches and mark. And then for the shoulder line, I want to open it by 1 inch. I don't want it too close to my neck. Then I'm going to just connect a straight line to meet those 2 points. Because I came by 1 inch on my shoulder for the front, I'm going to do the same for the back, and then just join it back to my neckline. Now I'm done. I'm just going to go ahead and cut out my pattern. Now, after closing my side dart, I realized that my bust became a little pointy again. So I just went back in and blended that in. So at this point, I'd say it's advisable to finish closing your dart before doing the shaping that we did initially, so that you just do both at once. Now my patterns are done. My patterns are ready, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut this on my fabric. So I just have 1 yard of fabric for this tutorial's sake, so I'm not going to really care about the direction of the patterns of my fabric. So I'm just going to pick my center piece, which is supposed to be cut on fold. I'm going to place it on the fold of my fabric and cut it. I'm going to show you how to notch it and how to match your notches, okay, when sewing. I'll be adding 1/2 inch allowance to all my patterns, even the side seams. So I'm cutting out 1/2 inch allowance. You can go ahead and use your tape measure and your chalk to mark the spots, but because I've done it over and over again, I've gotten accustomed to 1/2 inch. So you're going to cut your allowance 1/2 inch. After cutting your allowance, you want to take all the lines, your bust line, your under bust, and your waistline, create notches along those lines on the fabric. We'll go ahead and cut the rest of our panels, adding our 1/2 inch, just like we did for the center front. This time, make sure you notch the waistline at the side seam as well, and we are going to do that's the same thing for the back, so that when we are joining, we know every line means. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and watch out for my next video. I'm making an updated video on my fitted pants. This one is simplified, and you enjoy it. Thank you.